Hey, what's up, guys? It's your girl Cherrell, and I'm the host of Let's Talk the Show, and this ain't a podcast. I'm not sure why I was just so confused on what to say. We're gonna let a few people join in before we get started, you guys. We have an amazing episode planned for you today, and I really am so excited, you guys. Like, we're gonna end this series on a higher note than we started on. And I don't even know if that's possible because we've had so many great people come, and I feel like our last guest is just going to like knock it out the park, you guys. Okay. So without further ado, make sure you guys follow me on Instagram. You can follow my personal page, Miss Carter_1X. You guys can also subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the link in our bio and subscribing. And don't forget, you can rewatch every episode on our YouTube channel. And make sure you stick around to the end of the episode so that you can get the code to use 10% off your order from Carter's Gourmet Popcorn. You guys, this episode is sponsored by them. So yeah, make sure you check it out. But we're going to get right started. We're going to go ahead and get our special guest in here today. Let's get it going, guys. What? Okay, let's see. You guys know how Instagram acts. It really acts funny with us sometimes. So let's see here. So let's see. Okay, let's see here. Okay, hello.
Hi.
How are you? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit. It says you're loading. You're breaking up a little. See, you guys, Instagram be hating on my show, okay? Instagram be really hating on my show.
Is this better?
Yes, much better. Perfect.
Okay. I turned my Wi-Fi off. I am well. How are you?
I'm good. Okay, so I'll go first. The ritual is that when you join the show, you got to give us something that you're grateful for. And today I am grateful for, I feel like I've been messing up lately, so I'm just going to say I'm grateful for another day to try again and do better. So I'm going to say that's what I'm grateful for. Just another day to try to do it again and do it better. What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for my village. I'm truly grateful for my village. Yeah.
I like that. Okay, so you guys, if you've been watching the previous episodes this month, you know that this month is really about highlighting local history makers and giving them their flowers. I feel so often we look to the bigger names and we want to always put them on a pedestal. We want to highlight them, but I think it's so important to highlight and give flowers to the very people that are next to us, in front of us, on the side of us, that are doing their thing and making changes and impacts in our community. So Natalya, I am interviewing you today, but this episode is merely to give you your flowers while you're here and while you can smell them, okay? And to really acknowledge what all you've done in your community and the contributions that you've made and what else we can expect from you. So, you guys, when you're in the audience, when I ask you to flood my comment section with flowers, I need them for her, okay? These are for her. This month is for people like her. So when I ask y'all to flood them with flowers, don't be stingy. Give her all the flowers. She needs to have them all, okay? All of them, all right? So let's get started. I'm so excited to talk with you. I know, right? I'm
excited.
So,
yes, your energy is refreshing. I'm still like, I took a nap, so I'm still like coming into the world.
It's okay. So when I was looking for people to interview, you came up multiple times. So I just want you to know, like, there are people that see what you're doing and was like, you gotta get her on the show. I think she'll be so good.
Who said that?
Who said
that?
No,
who said that?
I ain't telling you, okay? I ain't never tell who was recommending you, but people were recommending you. And I remember when you were on the ballot, and I think my sister told me about it. And I don't think I lived in the county at the time. I'm like, damn, I can't vote for it. I'm like, but damn, I tell whoever else in the city to vote for it. I'm like, I can't do it because I ain't there. But you came up, what you're doing came up. And trust me, there are people that are rooting for you, okay? There are people rooting for you. I know you guys are in the audience. I don't even think I asked my audience. I'm sorry. You guys drop in the comment section something that you're grateful for. And while you guys are dropping that, we're going to kickstart this interview to get Natalya these flowers today. I'm so excited. Okay, so you grew up on the east side of Detroit. Tell me about what that was like coming up, and how did that shape your views on education?
I think growing up on the east side, I feel like I had the best of both worlds because not only did I just grow up in the hood, I got to explore, other things, other communities, other ways of life. I traveled. So, I feel like I got a diverse experience, even though, I did live in the hood. I did go to sleep to gunshots. And it was just like a lullaby. Um, it was just the way of life. But I think, being educated in DPS, I also went to a charter school for middle school. So being able to see those parallels, um, and I think that took me into high school and really just seeing the shift, because I know in like kindergarten they wanted to double promote me, but they didn't. Like my teacher wanted me to be double promoted, but they didn't, because that would take a year out of their funding. They wouldn't give me for that extra year. So it was just like institutional things like that that would hold me back. But being younger, you don't really think about it. I just knew that, my teachers were like, she's so advanced, all of these things, like being in elementary school. And I'm like, okay, I didn't really get all of that. But then fast forward to like high school, I went to Cass Tech, number one, second to none, gotta say it.
We let y'all beat up.
Yes. But going into high school, it was my senior year, and this was when all the walkouts were happening. The teachers were doing sick outs. That's actually kind of what that was at that time. Um, and I was, initially going to a rigorous school. You just enjoy a couple of days off, initially. But I'm like, okay, what does this really mean? What is really happening? And so I really started to like pay attention, drill into what my teachers were doing. And I'm like, okay, they're risking their livelihoods for me and my peers. And I'm like, okay, I got to support them, because at that time I had a great, relationship with many of the staff at the school, just being involved in different ways. And especially my principal. So I'm like, okay, this is something that I know is tangible for me. And then I end up yoking up with some other young ladies that I was friends with, and they also wanted to do something. And it just took off from there. So it started, with Cass Tech, and kind of invigorating the student body. But also ultimately getting the district, and I guess primarily because the high schools, because of course we're older, could be more mobile, to ultimately do a district-wide walkout. And, after sitting down with, at the time we had an emergency manager for Detroit Public Schools, yep, Judge Rhodes, nice little white guy. And and I remember sitting there, we're talking, we're downtown at the district building, and he's talking, but he's talking to us who led the walkout, and then a couple staff persons, and I'm sitting there, and 17-year-old me, 16, 17, however old I was very mature. And so I'm listening to what he's saying, and he's basically blowing smoke. So he took this meeting for the optics, pretty much. And I'm just like, wow, this is a lot more political than I realized. And, I called him out on it. And that was that. But I just knew after that, that was honestly my entire senior year. Like, everybody was excited about like prom and all the the senior year festivities. I'm like, that was my senior year. That just kind of shaped me and molded me. And then thinking about going into the world, that ultimately, that entire process just shaped a lot about who I am now today. It really made me just take a look at education. I guess there were other moments prior to that, but really that moment was like, okay, we got to do something about this, because, just seeing the different ways that monies are distributed and the whole nine as
Yeah.
it pertains to public education. Just like, okay, something has to be done. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I agree. I just want to clarify. 2016 was the year that we saw the ceilings falling apart. The children didn't have soap. Is that we're talking about the same
it
year? Because
was
I remember
it.
I was
You
hearing
know,
a lot of things.
yeah. That was the year I graduated, but it was a lot happening prior to. I think going to a school like Cass Tech. You know, we're number one, second to none. So you know, shielded from a little bit of that.
Yeah, you
But
are.
we still had, you know, we were in a newer building, but we still had building issues. Um, we had a lot of resources, thanks to our principal and, you know, just the legacy that we have, and still, you know, we're experiencing issues. So I could only imagine what it was like at some of the, you know, other schools. So yeah.
I agree. I'll say that because I've attended CAS as well, so I do know that you meet a diverse group of people. I'll say that you meet a lot of different people, and you don't experience those same things. I know that when I went to Southeastern, it didn't look the same. I knew once the minute I walked in, because it was a neighborhood school. Unlike CAS, where you had to test to get in, I knew we were facing a whole different set of issues. So the building looked completely different. The things that we faced in school looked completely different. And I remember doing a supply drive for DPS, I think in about like 2016 or so. And I remember walking in and there were buckets of water in some of these schools. I remember delivering tissue and soap because the kids didn't have it. And I was like, well, goddamn, what are they doing in here? Like, where is this money going that these kids desperately need? And like, who's in charge, because they're failing our babies, you know? And I remember just being so frustrated. So to see you so young and to get on the ballot at 20 to say, yo, this has got to change. I want to be the one to change it. What about those walkouts and those sick outs at the time? What made you feel like, of all people, why do you feel the need to do it? Why did you think that it was for you?
To run ultimately.
Yeah, not even necessarily to even run, just to get ahead of that
To get
organization.
involved.
Yeah.
Um, I think at the time I was like a student leader. So my peers saw me just as a leader. I did different things. Just had started already like laying like the groundwork as far as me being a leader in my community, in my school. And so it was like, okay, if I don't do it, I was just I just take those leaps, and I think even now I'm still like that risk taker. I'm like, why not? That's always the thing. Like, what could go wrong? Like, you know, I don't. At that time, I didn't have much to lose. You know, it was not killing me to do anything. So okay, we're just going to do this. I think I looked at the risk, and I was like, well, doesn't really do anything for me. So at that time, I'm like, okay, this is something that needs to be done. And I honestly, I don't think I really realized what I was getting myself into at the time. I was just um, 16, 17. I was 17. And I was just like, you know, the world's at my disposal. We might as well make it happen. I knew that, like I said, I had a great relationship with the staff, and even the principal, and really is really close with her. And so I'm like, you know, I went and talked to different teachers, staff members, and even the principal, and they were totally in support. So that made me feel a little less pretentious about doing it. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this. Didn't really know what I was fully getting myself into. I didn't know what that would take me into later in my adulthood. I didn't know. I was just like, this is what I'm thinking about right now. This is what we're gonna do, and just made it happen.
Where do you think you get this sense of leadership from? I know you acted in school, but where did this, like, I want to lead the pack, I want to be, where did that come from? Who influenced you to become that person? Or do you think you were just born like that?
I don't think I ever set out to do things where I'm like, oh, I just want to lead. It was more like I just want to do my own thing, and my own thing kind of took me into appearing as a leader or being that leader. I know that there was like when I was 16, I started my own mentoring organization, and I was inside a recreation center. But so on the east side, and you know, at the time, I'm just like, I just want to help young ladies. And I knew myself to be more confident. I'm like, all of these girls are like experiencing different things, and I guess it's just, you know, that developmental stage. And I'm like, I'm not understanding this. And so out of that, it was like problem, create a solution. And, you know, I didn't really, of course, realize, you know, how impactful it was, but I knew that that was something I wanted to do. Um, yeah, I just, you know, my parents told me I used to change my own diapers. Like I was just tired of something happening, and then I created a solution. They were like, you know, it didn't make it to the trash, but I got that dirty one off of me, and I
It's the
got a new one
principle.
on. You know, so yeah.
I love this. So we're going. I'm so happy. Okay, so it's so great to see that what it really appears to be is that your passion for just being who you are has led you to take other people along this path with you, this journey with you, and then you've helped other people discover who they are just for you being authentic. That's all you've done. You just being who you are has been like, I want to help them. Let me help them. Let me see how I can help them. And y'all come along. And now look at you started. Now you out there with teachers and you're leading your peers out there to actually make a difference just at your school. And that's just the beginning of it. And just like you said, you see a problem, you create a solution. I feel like that's the number one rule to creating a successful business. You find a problem and then you solve it, and you gonna have everybody else behind you. So
for sure.
Y'all, I was in support of these teachers. I know I had teachers I'm really close with that still worked in DPS, and to see you not only listen to them and sit in their desk when they teach you, but to stand aside next to them and be in support of them means a lot, because a lot of times we know these parents ain't teaching these kids to support their teachers. It's always the other way around. So I feel like, you guys, we need to be dropping flowers for more students like Natalya that are out there supporting the people that are teaching them and risking their lives. So I need to see some flowers in my comment section, because we need to highlight this young lady. We do. We need to keep this going, because I want you to understand that I appreciate you being out there. I wish, honestly, I don't know what the hell I was thinking at 16. I don't know where my mind was, but I have no idea what I was thinking.
16, 17. Those were fun years. I think my upbringing just shaped a lot of who I was at that point. And yeah, I don't know. I still feel like now, like I'm forever a student. I'm like a sponge. I like to just absorb new things and just, you know, allow that to take me wherever it takes me.
I love it. You're just so warm. I can just feel it. Okay, I need to see more flowers, you guys. We not coming. Listen, my audience been A1 this whole month. Don't start slacking right now. I need all the flowers for Natalya, because we getting started, okay? Fast forward, you get through high school, you stood side by side with your teachers, you go on to college. Where is this leadership, or where do you feel like, you know, you want to go in life outside of your mentorship program?
So in life, I try not to you know, make solid decisions like that. I used to be a person where I'm like, okay, this got to be planned out. This next 6 months got to be planned out, like every, you know, tick for tack of my life. And that can be very overwhelming. And so I'm just like, okay, I'm big on just making sure that I have direction. I don't have a concrete place of where I want to land, but I have direction. I know that I want to create generational wealth for not only myself, my family, but my community as well. I want to leave a legacy. And so I know all of these intricate things that I am doing are building on to that. What that ultimate career plan is, I don't know. I'm just allowing myself to just figure that out. I'm young. Every day, I wouldn't say it's something different, but every day, you know, I feel a little bit more moved in other areas than, you know, the other. So.
Okay. Listen, Javon dropped some fire. And when he saw that, when you got the same time he dropped it as you were talking, I was like, damn, this heat. This is heat.
I can't even see it.
You had
no.
They're gonna be hating on my show sometimes. I don't know. They be acting real funny sometimes. So I don't know. But the fact that you say you don't have a concrete destination, but you got a plan, I like that. I really love that. I love that even if you don't know exactly where you're going to land, you're confident in the direction you're going. And, you know, as long as I can get the direction good, wherever I land, it's going to be just about right for me. And where does confidence come from? How you just so okay with the past? Some people are so nervous about uncertainty, but you just like, you know what, I'm good. I got this. How you so just cool with it?
Because everything that I've done so far, I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I landed somewhere that was successful. or somewhere that taught me, you know, how to be successful. So I don't think that I have losses. You know, I either win or I learn. And so in that sense, I could never lose. You just got to take the good out of everything, and yeah.
Yo, you like you hear people talk, and you hear people talking. Sometimes you can tell they're just telling you what somebody else told them, and then you hear people talking. You can tell that they believe what they're saying and that they live by it. I can tell that you live by what you're saying. It's not just like, oh, this is what somebody told me. This is a meme I saw. Like, I can tell this is who you are. And that's why I asked, like, why are you so calm? Why are you just so okay with it? You just like, you know, life's going to be good with it, however it goes. And I'm fine with that.
Honestly,
I'm really happy that you're on my show today. Like,
I'm happy that you have me. I'm thankful. I'm thankful to, you know, be on here. And even though it's anonymous people, I like to know, because when, you know, you reached out to me, I had just been connected with some people to do something else, and I was like, okay, you asked for me, but let me send you a couple of my friends because they're doing great stuff too. And so it just was like, wow, what you put out, you really get back. And so I was just like, wow, that's crazy.
Yes, like I'm trying to tell you, like, and it's funny because my sister be knowing a lot of y'all. I'll be really like, where y'all be finding? Like,
who's your sister?
I can't. No, I can't.
You're not gonna tell. You won't tell anything. Okay. Okay.
Know what's going on. I'm trying to tell you. My sister be seeing these people. I'm like, how come I don't see her? Why she ain't on my timeline? So I just be following people now. I'm like, I want to know what they doing. I like what they doing, just to give this opportunity. Like, I'm honestly honored because it's so nice to sit here and talk with you. Like, I don't know anybody else that did this in high school. I know they weren't doing it at my school. And I don't know nobody that came, you know, either my sister's friends or behind me that was doing this. So it's so dope to sit here with you to know that somewhere, some articles are about you and you cared enough about your community. Natalya, like, this is huge. Like, do you understand the impact of the work that you've done and the foundation that you're laying? Like, do you think, like, dang, like, I was on the ballot at 20? Like, do you ever just soak in that?
I'm learning to sit in it a lot more than I do. I'm usually like, okay, well, that's done. What are we doing next? It's like boom, boom, boom. So just being able to just give myself some grace and like, okay, like, you did this. This was bomb. And yeah. I'm learning.
Okay, so let's talk about mentorship. You have Sophisticated She. Tell me about that. I know you started like what, 6 years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago.
2015. So where does that put? 6 years ago. Yeah. Yeah. So Sophisticated She, that is my baby. And I guess in being in business and versus like that type of work, nonprofit type, it's a lot different. I am very protective of it. You know, I stopped programming because I'm like, I haven't found the right people to assist me with it, and it's definitely not something that I can tackle by myself. Just as far as the mentors, as far as like the business aspect of it. And so I'm just like, I just can't do this right now until I get the right people, you know, to support me in that. But when it started, I was what? So the idea came when I was probably like 15. And then I just sat on it and I'm like, I can't do that right now. You know, I'm just like, no, you know, that can't happen. And then I turned 16, and I ended up losing my grandmother. And I'm just like, okay, I got to do this now because she wanted me to do this. And I'm like, it just has to happen. And so, you know, did my due diligence with research, and I'm like, okay, I don't have all the pieces, but we just gonna get started. We gonna see how this goes. And I just, you know, researched everything. I went, talked to people in places, and then I was looking at spaces to kind of host this at. And then I ended up stumbling into the Bustle Center, which is connected to Marcus Garvey. I went to Marcus Garvey in elementary school. And so I was just like, okay, let me just peek in. I think it was, I don't know, spring, summer, it was spring, I think. And I was just stumbling around, went in, get some information, and I ended up talking to the director there. And she was like, you know, I like you. Let's talk, you know. And so, you know, just telling her about what I'm trying to do. Mind you, I'm 16. So we're just I'm just seeing and winging it. I went to other recreation centers just to see what they were doing. And even I went to the West Side. I'm an East Sider. And this one, it being on the East Side, it just was like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be with this. And so I started programming there, and I did it every week on Wednesday. So, mind you, still in high school, I planned it out, got donations where either it came out of my pocket, and we was in there, we was with the girls. It was like middle school age, it was elementary middle school age girls, and that's what we were doing. So that was very fun for me. I think it started somewhere, and I guess it was what you could expect from a 16-year-old at the time of what I wanted to do. I know I wanted to start it to mentor, to have that impact, to kind of build that confidence in the girls. Now I'm more so moving in a direction where I wanted to be a leadership organization, and to teach those valuable skills that I think are missed in the schools.
Like what? I'm sorry to cut you off. Like what?
So, I kind of wanted to revamp it for it to be more so like how Girl Scouts is kind of outlined, but Girl Scouts is a white privilege organization. You got to be able to have your parents help you go sell those cookies to get those badges. I was a Girl Scout, didn't do that good. My parents didn't have that type of time to go sell them cookies, but whatever. But I wanted to be like where you earn those badges, or pins or whatever the case, for learning different leadership qualities. So, one course may be on public speaking, or it may be on how to run a campaign, or, just different things in those aspects, but to teach you how to be a leader and a change agent in your own community. And I learned, just mimicking it after, my life and just how things flow. I am busy. I can't sit down and tend to one organization. So I understand, like many middle school, high school age girls, they're wanting to try and be in these different organizations, which I totally, recommend, so then they can fill out different things and learn different things about themselves. And so I don't want it to be this one, like, to be able to consume all of their time, or this kind of one organization that does everything. I want to teach you the skills so that you can go back and be that president of that club that you're in, or you can go back and do these different things in your community. I want to just lay that blueprint, and then you take that into whatever it is that you truly want to do. So yeah, that's that.
Listen, y'all, LaBrenda beat me to the mark. I need y'all to flood my comment section with the flowers, please. I need all the flowers. I want to see the lilies. I love sunflowers, so drop some sunflowers in there for Natalya. I need to see all the flowers. The idea of making or doing your own thing similar to Girl Scouts for Black girls, I completely love. I completely love that. I was a Girl Scout too, and I know how hard it was. And I had never heard of Girl Scouts until I got to middle school, and I did not go to a DPS for a middle school. I went to a charter, like you said, or an academy for a middle school. And Howe Elementary didn't have no Girl Scouts. Southeastern, I don't think you had Girl Scouts.
I was only in it for kindergarten, and I don't know how much longer it lasted, but yeah.
I need all them flowers. The fact that you want to teach young girls to get these skills from here and go back to your community and make a difference, that says a lot. I don't want to just hold you and harbor your skills with me. I want you to take where you from, take what I give you, and go back and build it. Because the more you get back to where you came from, the beautiful it'll be. The more beautiful it'll be, And it's important to nourish your roots. Your roots are everything. And when hair start breaking off at the root, you got a bad problem, baby. It's over.
Okay.
Don't even worry about your ends. You need to worry about that root, baby, because something's going wrong.
Honestly.
Girl, I just love this. The East Side loves you. We need you. Okay, you get all the love and the flowers. They love you.
Okay, East Side,
Okay, they love. Well, I love you too because I'm from the East Side too. So we love you. We need you. We appreciate you so much, Natalya. Like, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. I really wanted to know. No, don't do that. I really wanted to know about Sophisticated. She was really hard to find a lot of stuff on it, but I really wanted to hear you talk about what you're passionate about. because I know that when people go into mentorship, it's not something just for the money. They ain't never about the money. It's really about something that they love. And so what is something that you hope to gain from teaching these young women? I mean, outside of, the legacy that you really want to build with Sophisticated She, what is something that you look to gain from that?
That I look to gain. I think I just want to just be the person that I always wish that I had. Like growing up, I always was like, I wish I had like a big sister like this, or, somebody like this. And I had all these ideas of people that I wish that I had in my life, just to teach me different things, to show me different things, to kind of be like, to little sis me in a way, give me all of these things. And I didn't. And I don't think it stopped me, but I think I could have been greater if I had, those people to pour into me in the ways that I, desire. And so I just always wanted to be that. So
yeah. If be the person you needed when you were younger was a person, I'm sure it's you. I'm looking right now, and there's no doubt in my mind that if that phrase was a person, I'm sure it's you. Yeah, I just love it. And I'm just so happy you came to my show. Okay. I guess okay.
I'm thankful for you having this show.
Oh, thank you, girl. I'll be trying. I'm just trying to do something for my community too. Okay, so moving forward, let's talk about the moment you decided to actually run for DPSCD. Oh, there's a lot of letters, Lord. Whew.
Yes, so a lot of them.
There's a lot of letters. Tell me about the moment you was like, yo, this is what I want to do. And who was the first person you went to and told about it?
So when I was deciding to run, it was actually an organization that I work with called Meaningful Power, and they're a STEM-based organization that teaches youth about STEM. And so I was facilitating a workshop for them on, goal setting, and just really how to dissect your goals, analyze your goals. And so this was summer of clearly 2018. And so I had to use an example goal. And so one of my goals was running for school board. And it was something that I just threw out there. I just wanted to use. I honestly had never gave running for office like a thought. It was just like, I'll do that later, later in life or something. And so I just want to use that as my example goal so that I can show them, how to dissect their goal and be intentional in, executing. So, finished the workshop, and there was a parent there, and she worked closely with the school board, and was very active. And she was like, you know what? It's 2 seats open. You should run. I was like, girl, I was just talking. And she was like, no, you should actually run. I was like, okay. I think I was tired of talking at that point. So I'm like, okay, I'll look into it, And then I did end up looking into it, and she's like, the filing, stop it. My dog's over here chewing on my nice shoes. Okay. I ended up looking into it, and the filing deadline was coming up. So it was like 2 weeks away. And mind you, at this time I'm in school, so I would come back here and there to do different things. And I'm like, my lease is, ending, and like it was July or something like that. So I'm just like, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to renew it? Am I going to move? Am I going to, it was a lot to kind of put together so fast. But I'm like, I think I sat on it. I went to talk to my mom. My mom supports any crazy idea that I have, and I just don't understand it. But thank God for moms. And she was like, I think you should do it. My mama said it's okay. So, I mean, I'm going to do it.
Right?
You know what
That's all that matters.
So, yeah, I went ahead and I'm like, okay. So there was a lot of like research. I had to get my personal life together, move a lot of things around. And I'm just like, all right, well, we're doing this. So, analyze the risk. But I'm like, risk. And then it just made it happen. I went and filed. You can either like pay a fee, or you can get signatures. I was a little bit too late. I had a lot just going on to just kind of go door to door and get those signatures by that deadline accompanied by me moving and just a lot of other variables. So I was like, okay, I'll pay this fee, get on the ballot. And it was, that is just where it started.
Okay, so what would you say when you walked into this? What's one thing that surprised you the most when you going through this process that you didn't think about before?
So, I think initially I was like, everybody will be so nice. They'll be so inviting and so welcoming. Rude awakening. They were like, little girl, who do you think you are?
Whoa.
Whoa. But yeah, I think that was one of the things. So I had to like tighten up really quickly because, I'm just all smiles and love and, but I'm like, everybody's not like that. Everybody's just not going to like you. And, it doesn't matter what you do. So I was like, okay, we got to tighten up and we have to learn how to play this game very quickly. And then jumping in, I'm like, okay, this is even more political than I thought it would be. And so I grew a lot very fast running a campaign. There were so many things I had to learn, campaign finances, just rules and things around that, just fundraising. I was running the campaign by myself as far as learning. I had never ran a campaign. I had, I guess, been in that mix a little bit as far as like politics go. So I had a few contacts, but I was still new in the game. But yeah, that was my thing.
And I did my research, and so I saw that a lot of times you just mentioned about getting hit with that you're so young, you're only this, you're only that. How did you not allow that to knock you down? Like, how did you take that and be like, don't worry about how young I am, I got this? Like, what did you do to get that or keep that mindset going?
I was so young doing anything else. So age is not a determinant in anything. I don't think it really hit me. I'm just like, all right, whatever. I know what I am in this for. I know what I'm bringing to the table. And you just got to be able to stand solid. I think when people ask me like, okay, what should I know if I want to run for office? Like, one thing you have to be is sure in yourself. You have to be confident in yourself because it's so many things that are like make you sway a little bit, make you question why you're doing it. But that is like, you cannot have knowledge of anything else. But one thing you want to have is knowledge of yourself and stand true to that. And I think that's the biggest thing.
She coming with the heat. Coming with the heat. It don't matter. I love that. Knowledge itself. Y'all, you can't go. Okay, so we're gonna go. Why am I getting some weird thing? Okay, so we'll just disconnect that. Moving forward, they're telling you're too young to do it. You're getting up there. You're still on the ballot. You're putting your word out there. Everybody's voting. What's one thing that crossed your mind about the outcome? Was there anything that I know you're like, I can never lose, I can only learn. So what was one thing that you was like, when the outcome happens, how did you prepare for that?
By the time election day came, I was so tired. I was just like, it just got to be over at this point. Whichever way you go, I just need it to be over because it is a grueling process. You give so much. And one thing about it is like you're in front of people a lot. So you're always having to smile. You always have to like put on this happy face. And that's exhausting, because you're exhausted mentally, physically. You're still having to get up every day. It's hard because you're still a person, but you're also a candidate. So you want to talk to people. You want to interact with people. You want to get your message across. You want to be transparent, but it's just like all of these things on the other side that are just like, why do they matter? And just seeing how nasty, I guess, politics can get and just staying above that. I know I went in and doing like, what do you call those? Forums, that's the word. Forums, with like other individuals who are running. I was always just open, warm, and I'm like, hey, you all bring something different to the table, and I respected that, and I respected everyone who was running, and I just didn't see the same, that was reciprocated. But I think the outcome, it didn't, especially once I got like a couple months in, the outcome of winning or losing or fearing that, just, it didn't matter to me, because I realized it was so many people that I educated on the fact that there were so many people that didn't even know that the school board was an elected position, for starters. Just getting so many people registered to vote. I went into communities that people were like, why are you wasting your time over there? They don't vote. But it was so many people like, no one comes over here to talk to us. It was just, I was able to have so much impact that the outcome, you know, I didn't care about it anymore. I cared about it, but it wasn't like a focal point for me. And yeah, I was just like, you know, I'm a win. Anyway, this is going to be a win. It's going to be a win-win situation for everybody. I'm registering so many people to vote. Like, I lived with registration forms in my car. I don't think they left until even way later, like a year or so later. But just being able to have impacted other areas, like, that was just so important for me. And so I always, even before, you know, election day came, I felt like, okay, this is a win, because I could see my wins in other areas.
Ooh, that's dope. That's dope that you didn't put, you know, the defining moment at the end, and that it was really just a bunch of small wins throughout the process. I love it. If you could look back and see through this entire process, what's one thing that you would tell yourself?
That process there, I don't know. I don't know. I think that it just was what it was. I think people just sometimes make things like so life changing. Like, it was what it was. I learned my lessons. It took me into something else that I kind of poured that into. I don't know, maybe trust the process and just let it be, because I was overworking myself. It just, you know, I'm just like, okay, especially at the beginning, I think there was so much for me to learn, and it was very, very stressful. But I think now, as compared to when I was 20, that's not what I was, which is clearly not that far, you know, back. I really think I'm a lot older than what I am at times. But trust the process. Like, it is what it is.
Do you think you ever underestimated the process for yourself?
Definitely underestimated the process. Definitely did not fully conceptualize what I was getting myself into. And I don't think that, not the outcome as far as the election, me losing the race, but I think the process and how it went, I don't think it could have been any different. Like, I decided to run 2 weeks before the deadline, whereas people had already been campaigning prior to for months. And just, you know, so yeah.
And you still got that far. You learned that much, and you completely stepped into a realm that you were not really familiar with. You weren't familiar with at all.
Yeah.
And you, yo, this is dope. Like, I couldn't. Again, I don't know what I was doing at 20. I was in school at 20. I like trying to put myself or think about where I was at a moment when people were doing such impactful things. Like, I'm sure I was doing something good in the world, but I don't think I was even contemplating running for anything, or even had built such a strong foundation like you had already built, Natalya. Like, what does the Natalya look like right now? What is 23-year-old, or will you be 23 this year, right?
I'll be 23. That's
okay,
so
right.
Funny.
I'm like,
I'll be like, right now, what does it look like as far as what?
What does your career look like right now? What do you have any other things you're going to be taking some leaps of faith in and then figuring out later?
Yeah, all the time, you know. I think sometimes I wake up like, okay, we're going to do this. And then it just, you know, we just put it together and it just happens. Everything, I think sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, she just knew she was going to run for office at 20 and she started working since she was like 15. Like, no, I woke up like, and this just happened. And then we just winged it and we saw what was going to happen. so I don't have this like, okay, I'm working towards this like 5-year goal and then this is where I want to land. Like, no, I can wake up at in 2 years and be like, okay, we're doing this tomorrow. But I think right now I have become a full-time entrepreneur. So that is really fun, really scary. And I am really, I think I teetered at the idea last year. And then so now to just like make it happen, it's just like I had a very what's the word? Trying to be pretty about it. Um fun experience in my last role. And it took a lot out of me. And I was working in this community development political advocacy space. And it drained me. It definitely drained me. So I had to learn how I can make impact, but make it work for me. And entrepreneurship is not something that, has ever been far off. I have two parents who are entrepreneurs, and that's, what I lived and breathed as a little girl. I've probably been working since I was like 4 or something like that. And so just to make that happen, like I'm very adamant, just to flourish in those ways. I think personally, I'm just focusing on Natalya and her personal growth instead of like what I can give. Like I have to give something to me so that I can be able to give to others. So that's just where I'm at. I'm just giving myself some grace. Yeah.
It's always the yeah at the end for me. Like,
yeah, it's just like I'm very
it.
easygoing. I'm very like just chill, laid back. It just be like, yeah. I mean, I don't know. People expect me to have like, I don't know, convoluted stories, and I don't know. I just wing this stuff like called life. Adulting is very real. It's very ghetto. I'm figuring it out every day. Like I'm in this journey of adulthood where I'm just like loving the process. I'm loving to learn Natalya and relearn Natalya as she evolves, and just learn, re-strategize my business goals and just learn how I can be better in those areas. Yeah, that whole little
right at the end again, right? I'm hearing you talk, and what I'm hearing is I'm winging it. I know that a higher power is working in my favor. I'm gonna adult it, and I'm gonna just learn as I go. Like that's what I'm listening to this. Is like, yo, I'm just gonna do it if I want to do it, and if it feel right, I'm gonna go with it. However it happens is how it happens, and I'm okay with that. Yeah. What do you do to maintain your sanity? Because this is like a level of calm, of stillness, of confidence that I don't even know if I got that at like 26 now. Like how do you maintain this level of stillness? I feel like that's only all I can call it.
Yeah. I think I am an introvert. And so I sit with myself a lot, and I think a lot. I'm probably an overthinker. But I really spend a lot of time with myself. So I get to know myself. I get to, sit in when I'm hurt. I get to sit in when I'm sad and just kind of like see what that feels like, see where that can take me. When I'm happy, just really internalizing like, why am I happy? What do I get from this? Just really being in tune with myself. I think one of my biggest things, and I realized how much it played a role into my life. When I was in 9th grade, I was diagnosed with epilepsy. So with that, I had to learn. Well, I was having stress-induced seizures. And so I had to learn very young to eliminate stress. And so that was how I control my seizures, because I'm like, I'm not taking no medicine. Y'all got me messed up. So I had to learn in terms of like, okay, if I control my seizures, if I control my stress, I can control my seizures. And with that, it's just like, that's not even worth my energy. And that's just how I am, I think, even today. Like, it's not worth my time. It's not worth my energy. And I think just being very selective with who I allow into my life and situations, and just being intentional in my friendships. Like it's mind over matter all the time.
I want to ask you, you did all that campaigning and you talk about how you overworked yourself. Did you ever worry about having a seizure because of that type of stress?
I'm sure I had several.
So
Looking back.
wait, you had several seizures throughout the campaign, or
Yeah, I'm sure I had several. I mean, I don't have seizures to where I'm like on the floor.
okay,
They are smaller. And so I'm sure that I had several, but for the most part, that was okay.
oh wow,
That was okay.
that well, I'm
I
glad. Yeah, I'm
know
glad you're still here.
I know when I began to have them, I have to like take a step back and look at like, okay, what is going on? So I try not to overwhelm myself. I am a little bit more on the ambitious side, so I can really take a toll on myself, but really just kind of outline and strategize. Okay, how do I want to tackle today? How do I want to go about this? Just being realistic, I guess, about my goals, about things that I want, about situations like, okay, this is this. It's not, as it appear to be, or, that over there, but
I
this is
like
what
that.
this really is. Just being realistic with myself, life, my journey, my goals, just across the board. Yeah.
I love that. I can now that you've given that extra, I'm like, okay, now it all makes sense. While you
Yeah.
can just be like, it seems that you know that you can go overboard or you can overwhelm yourself, but at the same time you understand that to a level I have to keep this under control. And
Mm-hmm.
not just the not let my dreams go crazy, but also for my health. Like that's important.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
dope that you can have that's a divine balance because I ain't got that balance, Lord. I would stress myself out to the end or
Don't
go
do it.
overboard. But that's dope. That's a
I
not
always feel like there's always like you can do it again. You can always do it again. If you fail at something, you can do it again. Chances are you'll be okay.
oh, y'all hear that? Y'all can do it
You
again.
can do it again. It's
Y'all
fine.
can I like that. Just do it again. You can do it again
Do
if
it
you
again.
go.
Yeah.
I love this. I love this, y'all. And they've already been dropping gems and flowers. You guys, you have to go ahead and flood my comment sections with flowers for Natalya. We're about to wrap this up. So before we go, though, I got to get some scenarios for young girls who are not as confident or wish that they had a bigger sister. What can you tell them to get them through these middle school, high school years?
These years are fun. I was talking to an eighth grade class the other day, and I think just for young girls specifically, just kind of, I think at that moment, a lot is going on. How do people perceive me?
Yeah,
How do I look physically? How do I come across? And just all of these scenarios that are in their head. I think it also takes a village. So people pouring into these young girls and like, you're beautiful, and just showing them why they're beautiful more than just on the surface level, like really highlighting the qualities that they have inside of them. Just themselves, just learning to learn more about themselves, not worry about what the internet is saying or that you
please
should
don't.
look like, you should be dressing like, you should
Don't do it.
have. Because there are so many times where I know, just growing up from being in the work class family, like, you didn't always have this, you didn't always look like this wasn't always together. Like, you just have to be okay with not being what the world wants you to be. You got to be okay with being who you are. And
I
I
love
think just
it.
drilling in on those qualities, I think I knew being younger, I'm like, I think I knew my strengths at the respective times. So I'm like, okay, well, I got this going for me. This may not work, but this is going. This is something that's sure. And I'm like, all right, we can work with this. And I think I also had just a good, my home, my parents, um, they were good. My mom especially, just always reinforcing every crazy thing that I do. And I think that's helpful, and it's just like, even if I'm 8 and I'm like, all right, mom, I want to be a YouTuber. That wasn't my thing because YouTube wasn't the thing when I was 8.
Right.
But just being able, parents, like, they have so much influence in that household, just to reinforce those things and just allow kids to explore themselves. And even if it sounds crazy or unconventional to that parent, because this next generation, they are completely different.
Definitely.
But just allowing them to okay, voice, um explore themselves. And I think that's really important, and just trying different things. I think parents, you know, when they're younger, parents have more control over that. But as you get into like middle school and high school, you can say like, I want these things, and you can articulate that, you know, the different things work for you. Um, just being okay to learn, you know, be a sponge,
I love
find
that.
the things. Yeah.
I love that. I love that, allowing your kids to just explore themselves, even if it's unconventional. I can't get enough of that. I love that.
Yeah.
Let's see. What I got so many questions to wrap it up with. Okay, we'll go with what do you hope that your legacy will be when you leave this earth? What do you think what do you hope people will have learned from Natalya?
I was listening to this podcast, and they were like, what is your what's the thing that you want people to, I forgot how it was phrased, but my thing is that I just want to be, I guess, remembered, because I think my legacy could be of a compound of like things that I do, but I think I want to be known for the person that I am, like my heart and just how I show love for people, and just transmitting that love to people, and just allowing that to flow to other people.
I
So
like
like,
that.
dang, Natalya, you know, go hard for people, or she do X, Y, and Z. Like, I want to impact someone like that. And then, yeah. There's the yeah.
Yeah again. I love that.
Yeah.
And I love this question. What would you say, before we're going to wrap it up, what would you say to your future self?
Future self, you are your ancestors' wildest dream.
That's
Keep
what
going. Yes.
I
Wing it.
love to hear it. Y'all. I feel so good. I really learned a lot this episode, okay? I did. Okay, y'all, I love this. Okay, so Natalya, before you leave, you got to tell us where we can find you on all social media accounts. They need to follow you because you are an amazing person. They gotta get all this love and good energy that you got to give.
Period. Y'all gotta give it out. You know what I'm saying? So you can find me on Instagram at She Is Natalya. I blabber a lot on Twitter. You're gonna get to see a whole different side of me on there, but She Is Natalya too. Also, She Is Natalya also. And Facebook is here and there. But Natalya A. Henderson, and you know, add me on LinkedIn. You know what's up? We gotta tap into there. We gotta really network. So but I'm always an open book, you know. Hit me in the DMs. Just don't be shooting your shot, because I'm gonna leave you there. But yeah. Good.
I don't know what's up with this thing.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
They're be hating, bro. They hate when I be getting the good episodes. They always hating, bro. And I can feel energy, y'all.
That's okay. We're gonna be great.
We is though. Okay. So thank you so much, Natalya, for coming on tonight. I really enjoyed you. They are flooding my comment section with flowers like they should be, because this is what this is about. This month is for people like you, for you making the impact that you make in your community. I want to thank you. I want to let you know, from Let's Talk and myself, we appreciate you. We're grateful for you. We glad you're still here. And I want to let you know, I should have told everybody else this too. I admire your go with the flowness, to not be so restrictive on yourself, and to just be like, you know, I'm gonna accept it for what it is and just go with it. And I also admire your level of balance that you have, because I lack mad balance, bro. I be too hot sometimes. Okay,
Health is wealth. Health is
what?
wealth. You can't, I say health is wealth, and specifically like your mental health. You can't execute these goals if you're not in the right headspace. Like, it's a lot of times, that's why I nap a lot. People always wonder, like, oh my God, why you sleep? You sleep every day. Like, sometimes I just need to reset, and it's either the shower or a nap. And you know, water bills be too high from time to time. So we're gonna go take a nap because it's a lot cheaper. But and we just gonna go from there. So
bro, that is fake, guys. That is fake. I love that. I really wanted to let you know that I admire that. I'm so sorry to my other guests that I ain't tell y'all what y'all admire, because I left every episode with something new. I'm so sorry, y'all. We're so happy I get to wrap my episode up this month with you, Natalya. You have been a joy to have on here. I wish you the best of luck. I'm sure this is not the only time I'm gonna meet you or run into you. I predict more times. Okay.
Yeah.
But when you leave out, you gotta go out the same way you came in. So what is something else that you're grateful for?
Something else. I'll reiterate, I started with saying that I was grateful for my village. I think just really be grateful for myself. Like I step outside of myself a lot and I'm like, okay, you kind of cool. You all right, I guess. But just really thankful for like I don't know, like my morals, my values, because I think that has a lot to do with why I do certain things and just gauging a lot of who I am. So yeah, my personality, all of that, fun.
Okay, I can run with that. Let me see. Okay, so yeah, I'll give what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful to have had Natalya to be tonight's guest for this to wrap up this series. This was so fun. She is really. I can tell that she's a very genuine person. I love her personality. Like this was just. I feel like you were the perfect person to wrap up the episode. I feel like if I had any different type of order, it wouldn't be. I wouldn't get the vibe I'm getting now, and I'm really happy and I'm satisfied with this. Like I feel good about this. Yay. So I'm happy that you were my last person to wrap up this episode. And let's see what else, you guys. Make sure you guys follow us on. Wait, first off, I'm going too far. Thank y'all for coming tonight, like you guys do every night. Yes. I hope I see you guys next Tuesday. Thank you for everyone that came. Thank you, Natalya, for your time, for your energy, for all the hard work that you do in our community. Like I told you, this month was merely about celebrating you and all the work that you give. Like nobody would have ever thought if you didn't tell them and if they don't know you that you were having seizures while you were campaigning to make a difference in your community. That's huge. That is major. And I'm never going to forget that. I don't care how big this get. I'm never going to forget that. That is going to be if get it out the mud, if work hard, if teamwork makes the dream work, was a person is you. And I'm really happy that I get to sit down with you, period. Like I am. I get to have some of your time. Make sure you guys hit over to the link in our bio and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This episode will be available to rewatch on YouTube tomorrow. Also, make sure you head over to Carter's Gourmet Popcorn. Use the code Let's Talk to get 10% off your popcorn purchase. They are somewhere in our comment section down there. And as always, you guys, my name is Cherrell Carter. I'm the host of Let's Talk the Show, y'all, and this ain't a podcast. Thank you so much, Natalya. I'll see everybody next Tuesday.
Bye.